Hi, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about global warming. So, what do you think it is? Please pause the video and write down 2 or 3 ideas so we can share in class. Great. Now, look at these 4 pictures. What is happening in each of them? And what do you think is causing it? Please think about this so we can share our ideas in class. Now, do you think we could help solve these problems? Okay. We're going to be reading a text on page student book 107. And we need to answer a few questions. First, what will happen if temperatures rise by 3 degrees? And which cities will be affected? Pause the video while you read. Okay, so if you notice, it says that a lot of cities are going to be destroyed. And some of the cities that will be affected were Osaka in Japan, Miami, and New York. Okay, so I want you to please read these 2 sentences with me. Do you see any familiar structure? Cities which are located in the coastline will be the most affected. Scientists discovering big structures that were buried beneath dense vegetation. If you notice, we are using passive voice. So, what is that? Well, if you remember, we have active and passive voice. Basically, active voice tells us what a person or thing does. Basically, we have the subject or the doer, our verb, and the object who receives this action. For example, Anna painted the house. However, in passive voice, this tells us what is done to someone or something. Basically, our subject is being acted upon. So we start with our object, the one who receives the action, our verb, and then we use the doer, right? The house was painted by Anna. If you remember, we use the word by to introduce the doer. So, how do we form passive voice? Well, we use verb to be in present, in past, etc. And usually we use past participle, like was painted, are answered, was posted, etc. So, let's practice this. Let's go to workbook page 40, exercise 1. We need to complete this article by putting the verb into the correct passive form. Let's do the first. In the 1939 movie classic, The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy is given a pair of magical ruby slippers. In the original story, the shoes were silver, but they, in this case, since we're talking about the past, we should use our verb to be in past, right? But they were changed to ruby red to take advantage of the new Technicolor film process. Very good. Now pause the video and work on the rest, please. Okay, we're going to check this during our class. Now, I want you to please look at these sentences. How many clauses do they have? Please identify the relative clause and how the relative clause was reduced. Let's take a look at the first. Cities which are located in the coastline will be the most affected. Cities located in the coastline will be the most affected. If you notice, these sentences have 2 clauses, right? Cities which are located in the coastline will be the most affected, right? 2. The same in the second option, cities located in the coastline will be the most affected. Scientists discover big structures that were buried beneath dense vegetation. Okay, now the relative clauses that you should have found were which are located and that were buried. But how were they reduced in the second version of the sentences? Well, if you notice, basically we removed the pronoun, the relative pronoun which, that in this case, but it could be who or any other, and our verb to be. So we just used cities located, big structures buried, etc. We eliminated the relative pronoun and verb to be. So, let's read these 3 sentences. Are they correct? Pause the video while you think about this. Okay guys, so you should have found that 2 of the sentences are correct, but 1 is not. we're going to share in class which one is not correct. Now, let's go to our student book, page 107, exercise 5. We're going to combine the sentences to include reduced passive clauses, right? And where appropriate, we can make other verbs passive or omit the agent. But basically, we need to combine. Let's take a look at letter A. Remains of a stone wall revealed evidence of the settlement. A storm uncovered the remains. Pause the video while you try to do this one. Okay, great. So you should have the remains of a stone wall uncovered by a storm revealed evidence of the settlement. So if you noticed, I used my second sentence here in the middle. Why? Because the remains of a stone wall in the second sentence says a storm uncovered the remains. So they are related, right? The remains of a stone wall uncovered by a storm revealed evidence of the settlement. If you wrote of a stone wall which were uncovered, remember that you need to reduce the clause, right? So just eliminate the pronoun and eliminate verb to be. Pause the video while you work on the other sentences. Okay, we're going to check them during our class. Now, finally, I want you to please choose one of these pictures and write a short news story. Okay? Remember to use reduced passive clauses. Write 5 sentences, please. Okay, guys, we're going to share during our class. I will see you then. Bye-bye!